Ladies and gentlemen, my friend Peter Gadiel from 9/11 Families for a Secure America.
We all have to remember something here. The group of wealthy people who are leading the fight for immigration and open borders is called the Essential Workers Immigration Coalition. It consists of the United States Chamber of Commerce, the hotel industry, the travel industry, the beef packers, rich people who want to get richer because they want cheap labor. Essential workers. Who's essential to them? Foreign people who can give them cheap labor and whom they can make into virtual slaves. What's essential about it? It's essential for them to make bigger profits on the backs of the American people. What's the opposite of the word essential? Unessential, disposable, expendable, worthless. And that's what they think of us. Except when it comes to getting our money, they think we're expendable. They don't care if there are people who die at the hands of the people that they bring in to do the jobs that supposedly Americans won't do. We're expendable. American citizens are expendable. George Bush, after 9/11, he stood on the ruins of the World Trade Center. The only tomb my son will ever know, because I have never received any remains of my son. And George Bush said to America, "I hear you." Well, apparently he lied. He lied then, he's lied now, he's lied in between. He does not tell the truth. He does not want secure borders. Why? Because he knows that for the increased profits of his friends at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, headquartered right over there, over my left shoulder, profits are essential. Illegal alien labor is essential. But the security of this country is not essential. You are expendable. My son was expendable. 3,000 Americans were expendable on 9/11. Thousands more of Americans are expendable every day, every year, due to the crimes committed by illegal aliens. There's a provision in the Constitution that describes what happens when a politician becomes expendable. It's called impeachment.
Yes.
Okay? Now, that dishonest man who famous Democratic politician once said of him, "Poor George, he can't help it. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth," and that's his problem. He's been too rich for too long. Now here's what I want to know. He's the chief law enforcement officer of this country. Now what happens if we see a police officer on the beat who refuses to enforce the law? He sees people attacking people. He sees people robbing banks. He doesn't enforce the law. We make a certain assumption, don't we? We assume that police officer is dishonest. We assume he's on the take. I can't find any other possibility for George Bush's behavior than that somebody has him on the take. I want to know, George. I want to know who's putting the silver spoons in your mouth, who's paying you. Why is it you consider Americans expendable? How long will you consider Americans expendable? And what we consider you expendable, and the Constitution of the United States provides for what to do with people who are expendable, and that is impeachment and removal from office. It's not Compion and Ramos and Gilmer who should be in jail, but it's Gonzo and George Bush and Jimmy Sutton and the rest of that gang. The rest of that gang who consider foreign cheap labor essential, and the rest of us, Americans, not essential. It's time to show them who's boss in this country. We have a problem. We have a problem. And that is that the major impeachment effort in this country is run by a bunch of lunatics on the left, like Ramsey Clark. I've got no use for Ramsey Clark. I think Ramsey Clark is a nut. But you know, every once in a while a stopped clock tells the right time. And this is one time when Ramsey Clark and his crazy friends are telling the right time. And maybe it's time for us to swallow hard and join those people on the left who say it's enough of George Bush. Now, George Bush's shock troops are out there. A lot of them are masked. Those are George Bush's shock troops. Those are the people. That's the future of this country if George Bush has his way. People with masks. People saying, you can't speak. I believe in free speech, but only for me. It's time for us to show George Bush to get that silver spoon out of his mouth. And remember Ann Richards? He can't help it. He's got a silver spoon in his mouth, and he was born with it. It's time to show him that the American people can take it out. We've had enough of George Bush.